Aspire Public Schools, one of the state's largest charter school chains, is looking into withdrawing from calendars. This is happening as a rising share of new charters are declining to enroll in the pension fund. You started out as a UTLA organizer, with the Janet's decision threatening to decimate unions.
Yes.
How can you continue to be such a booster of charter schools, which not only take money from teachers' pensions, but also from local school districts?
I beg, who asked that question?
Me.
Oh, yeah, that's what we talked about. So let me be clear. I started out and I said 1 out of 3 schools were failing in Los Angeles. I started out by saying that we had a 44% graduation rate. Raise your hand if you think that's a problem. You know, we gotta care about people that aren't making it. You know, I got an education. My kids got an education. I think every kid has a right to a good school. So I support quality, traditional public schools that are actually, successful in every community. And I support quality charters as well. And the reason I do is because 44% wasn't good enough. I told you by the time I left it was 72. Today it's 77. And that's not good enough. Thank you very much, Phil. Every one of those kids ought to be graduating. So I've challenged the notion that it was okay to just say that some kids in Bow Heights, where I grew up, it was okay that they were not graduating, at a 64% level. In addition to pushing reform in our schools, I took over 20 schools. Those schools had a 36% graduation, not a 44%. I took over Roosevelt High School, my alma mater. I took over Mendez High School. I took over Jordan High School. And I took over Santee. Santee, downtown, had a 27% graduation rate. Do you know what my schools have today? An 81% graduation rate. So I'm going to fight for the notion that your kids have a right to learn.
My question was about teachers' unions and defunding the public school districts.
So I don't think that they should get out of the pension system. I don't know what the evidence for that is. I do believe in pensions. I do believe that when you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to have a decent pension. So I'd be concerned about that. I heard this was just announced in the last couple of days, so I don't know what the reason they're making this argument is, but I'll tell you this. I believe in pensions, and I think the people work hard, they ought to have them. So they've not made the case that they should be pulled out of that system.
Can I just ask one follow-up relating to that question?
Yes.
So LAUSD has been losing $500 million a year to charters, with 20% of kids in charters. If Eli Broad, who gave $1.2 million to your campaign, has his way and 50% of LAUSD kids go to charters, that will bankrupt the district. Do you want that to happen?
Thank you for that. That's like... when's the last time
you beat your wife?
You beat your dog, right?
Yeah.
So look, let me just say, people can differ about the issue of charters. As I said, I believe in quality schools, and obviously they could, from my vantage point, they could be traditional quality public schools or charters, public charters. That are providing a good education for kids. When you look at what was going on in our city, as I said to you earlier, you see a city that was failing kids for generations. I gave you the example of my school district, my school, that it's for 50 years it failed those kids. So I agree on a couple things. One, there ought to be more transparency in all our schools, including our charters. I don't support for-profit charters, and as I said earlier, I do think this pension issue needs to be addressed. I don't think they've made the case to be able to pull out of the system. I think most of the teachers in charter schools want a decent pension like everybody else. So We may disagree about this issue. What I can tell you is I'm going to fight for the civil rights of kids who have been denied an education for not 10 years, not 20 years, but in some cases for more than 50 years.
Why not make them
Thank you.
accountable to
Thank
a
you.
publicly elected body? Knowing that he would not agree to be on my show, I decided to ask him the major question that I wanted to ask him, and I had a follow-up question to that, which is why not make these charter schools accountable to publicly elected bodies? Because right now they are only accountable to private boards of directors, most of whom do not even have educators on them. So I'm not going to use the rest of this live stream to go into my whole thing about charter schools. I've done plenty of programs about it, including my last episode of The Robust Opposition, which was a 90-minute show about how charter schools are ruining public education. But I will say that I do not think Villaraigosa should become our governor. It is concerning me that he is number 2 in the polls, and I think that progressives and anyone who cares about public education need to do everything in our power to stop him from becoming governor.